Alrighty guys, since we lost our Ibzard in the last run, we're actually just going to swap in the Magnus here and use him as a finisher. Since we're down on the stun, it's going to be a little bit harder to kill the last boss, and I really want to be able to kill these next few rooms really fast so that we can get in there with everybody alive, everybody topped off, and being able to actually eventually kill him. Usually when I run this, I usually lose the first two teams I take in, and then I have to use a finisher team, which ends up being my fire team, to actually kill him off. So these next few rooms are fairly simple. They do a lot of damage, so we're actually going to be using our skills very efficiently, and we're going to be making sure that orb refill is being utilized as much as possible. We're going to try to reduce the damage our team takes by using the shield as soon as it's back up, and these next couple of rooms shouldn't be too big of a problem. We're not getting too many gold cubes this run, but we do get a lot of money, which is really nice to have. It makes boosting a lot easier to do. Money was pretty hard to come by before the raids came out, but now you can get pretty much at least 100k as long as you can get to the last boss. You don't even have to kill him, but just getting to the last boss will net you around 100,000 gold, which is really nice to have. Metapanzer, oh man, I need this guy. Look at that. Look at that body. Alrighty. So, this room, whenever it decides to load. Come on. There we go. Still fairly simple. Same exact strategy as last time. Shield up, buff up, throw out the attacks, and re-shield up. Taking a little bit of damage is no big deal because we do have the spooking on our team to give us the heals. And if you do feel it necessary, you can throw out an attack from your leader and do some extra damage. Zakum's main ability is a damage debuff, so it's actually quite nice to have. It'll also reduce the damage the bosses deal to you, which doesn't sound like it's too great, but a 40% damage decrease on a boss that would have otherwise one-shot you doesn't kill you. It's a very nice trade-off. A little bit of mana spent, maybe not able to shield up the next go around, but the damage reduction does make a big difference. Alrighty, so now we're on to the last room. We're going to keep the same team in. Sad little Ibzard is dead. It's actually giving me quite a hard time just thinking about how we're going to do the last boss, because the stun is really helpful against him. And right after this room is done, I'm going to go into a little bit of a better strategy on how to kill the last boss, at least the one I use. Since we don't have Ibzard, I'm not going to go too in-depth into the stunning strategy. We're going to use a all-out attack strategy. It's only worked one time for me before, so hopefully it does go well this time around. And we'll be able to show you guys a kill video on him. Let's see. Don't really need to heal up using Zakum's ability yet. We can just keep shielding. They're getting fairly low, so we can just finish them off. Keep the shields up. Do a last heal before the room ends. And there we go. Finish him off with Zakum's ability. So we take no damage, and we are ready to go in on this last boss, full HP. Sadly, one guy's dead, but we can deal. Alrighty guys, so now we're on the last boss, and I'm going to quickly explain the mechanics of this fight before we set up a couple teams to take in there. This boss has three really big abilities we want to worry about. One, he shields himself. This is, I believe, a stage 5 shield that is much stronger because he is a boss, and it's very hard to break through with damage. The second thing he does is he does one very strong attack. His normal monster ability is a 275% attack, and since he's a boss, this is accentuated even more because he has higher base stats to begin with. He's going to hit really hard on one of your guys, so every time you see that little orb bubble filling up so his next attack comes out, be it a shield, be it a stun, be it whatever he's going to do, you want to have a shield up just to soak up that damage. And his last ability is actually a little bit of a benefit to us because he heals himself for a tiny bit and buffs himself. But the payoff for this is that he does stun himself for 5 seconds. 5 seconds is the monster ability. I'm not sure how long the boss stuns himself for, but I believe it's a little bit longer than 5 seconds. This gives us a chance to get in that little bit of extra damage in there. And the way I like to approach this fight is that I like to put in the same defender leader as Zakum, and we're going to be swapping out our healer spooking for a Connell here. What her ability does is it actually removes boosts from the enemy, and this includes his shield and his power-up. So when he does do his shield and his power-up and then gets stunned from it, we can actually throw Connell's ability out and just wipe out both the buff and the shield, and he's still stunned for 5 seconds, so we'll get a free 5 seconds, just deal damage to him. And we're also going to be taking out our Glint Fang here for a more single target approach. We're going to put in the Manta Chomp, I think? Manticore, Manta Chomp, one of those guys. And we're also going to remove the Anubis for one of our lower tier monsters. That's just going to do some damage. What our armor in here is going to do is he's going to deal some damage to the boss, and he's going to decrease his defense by a ton. The strategy here is Zakum will keep the team alive long enough for Connell to debuff the boss, and then we'll throw out our attack from our Magnus. We'll throw out our attack from our Armorin first for the debuff, and then we're going to throw out the attack from our Zakum and Manticore. What this will do is it'll increase the damage they deal and increase the damage the bleed will deal from Manticore. All of these three here on our left are going to increase the attack, and Connell will increase the MP recovery of Zakum, which will make it easier for us to use his damage debuff ability here, while also keeping up his stage 2 shield. This is really important to note. Alrighty guys, so we're going to take this, basically a full attacking team in there, even though it says defender, it's mainly an attacking team in there, and we expect these guys to die. It's not too big of a deal because we have backup monsters to take in for the next run, and we're basically going to do a war of attrition and kill them off. It actually reset my team here. Give me a quick second. I'm going to switch these bad boys out. Alrighty, we are ready to go. So you'll see the lineup of abilities I'm going to use. It really makes a big difference in which order you use the abilities, because you want all the debuffs to apply on the boss, and you also want Connell's debuff to be applied right before you do the attacks, so the shield doesn't absorb any extra damage. This boss is the hardest boss by far I've fought in the game, and you really need to be meticulous about how to beat him. So first things first, we're going to see how quickly his orb comes up. Shield up. I'm going to shield up one more time. You use Connell, and we're going to go ahead and do that. He actually deflected everything anyway, so that's not too great. But he got the stun off on himself, so we're going to go ahead and cycle our abilities on him now. Main goal is here, we want to get him to about half HP, maybe a little bit less. There we go, not too bad so far. Going pretty well here. Oh, there's our Armorin gone. Not the worst. Oh, Zakum's dead. Alright, our team is out of the fight. So here it comes in really handy to have the backup team, because we're just going to replace our members and we're going to go back in. And since he's already so low, it shouldn't be hard at all to finish him off, since we've got so many monsters in the background. Alrighty, so even though our first few guys died, it's not too big of a deal because we still have our debuffer who's the Connell there. I even brought in a backup, the little fire. I think it's Chevelle, something like that. Nobody cares. It's fire. Who cares about fire team? We're going to be using the same Connell for the debuff we had. Our Manticore is still alive, so that's good. We're actually going to swap in our Anubis as our leader here because he's a really good attacker all on his own. And we're going to also substitute in here a... Actually, let's take in our little Pentacorn. He gives us a nice little attack boost, and since we lost our spooking, not lost, but he's still there, Pentacorn's actually going to give us way more damage. He's actually going to give us the extra damage we need to punch through the shield of the boss. So we're going to go back in there and same strategy. We don't have the shield this time, so all we're going to do is go on the full offensive here and just kill the boss before he can react to us. We still want to use our Connell's ability at the right time to burn the shield down, because even if we have enough damage to blow through a shield purely through brute force, it's not going to be enough at the end of the day. So we're going to buff up again and use Connell's ability, and we're just going to start whacking the boss. And he's dead. It's that easy, guys. So it's not too hard as long as you bring in the right monsters and use the right team setup. And what do we get? We got a tree! Look at our spoils of war, we got garbage! Yay! Literally feeder. Literally feeder. Not too bad, guys. You do need a lot of those little treants to actually evolve Darkhawk. He's a pretty good monster. He does have the same debuffs to himself as a monster on your team, so I don't know how good he's really going to be, but his abilities are fairly strong, and they might help you in a pinch in those late game Robo Island Hell and hard mode dungeons. The end game dungeons do give a lot of extra rewards, so maybe taking in a monster like Darkhog would be beneficial, just to help you punch through that one dungeon you're having a hard time and maybe get that one monster you really need to solidify your team. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe if you're looking for more videos like this.